welcome to another segment of 24/7 Sports Stats. Today we're going to be recapping the wild card round games. And what else are we going to do
We're
today?
gonna do our predictions for the divisional round.
And see which
team wins?
Yeah, exactly. And explain
how they won.
Well, how the teams advanced. And for example, Indianapolis, San Diego,
San Francisco, and New Orleans.
Yes. This should be about great matchups this weekend, and we'll see what happens. What is that?
Oh, it's my new ring.
New ring?
Yeah, look, it's a ring on my finger.
It looks like a balloon.
It's not a balloon. That balloon flew away like the Kansas City team.
Okay. So let's start with the Kansas City and Indianapolis game, where Kansas City did blow their game with a 45-44 loss to Indianapolis. And so let's start with how Andrew Luck and how he did throughout this game. And he threw 3 picks, which isn't the best at times, but he came back and scored 4 touchdowns all together and got through 443 pass yards.
Yep, and he got 45 rush yards, a rush touchdown.
That rush touchdown was because of the fumble.
Brown.
Yes, and Andrew Luck picked it up, scored a touchdown. Great, amazing play. So basically turned around this game and made Indianapolis pumped up to win this game. And in the first quarter, Jamal Charles got hurt with concussion-like symptoms. And what do you think about that? Do you think that
hurt them really bad? It didn't slow down their offense, as you can see. They got 44 points.
But still,
if you had them, you probably could score about 60.
And Niall Davis, who backed up Jamal Charles,
67 rush yards, 1 touchdown.
Pretty good game.
Jamal Charles probably could have gotten at least 100 rush yards.
Wasn't there to do it. And turnover battle was 1-4.
KC wins.
And if you think about it, Alex Smith threw no picks. Alex Smith had a great game. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
378.
Yes. But they still ended up losing. Do you know why this happened?
Because they couldn't stop T.Y. Hilton. 2 touchdowns, 224 yards. He's like, with Reggie Wayne gone, if I was Kansas City, I would have doubled him right away.
Yeah. Double coverage all the way.
There's not really
T.Y. Hilton. But they didn't. And
he made a pick.
Yeah. T.Y. Hilton at the end of the game.
64 touchdowns.
64-yard touchdown.
From Andrew Luck.
Which was amazing.
Bulge coverage.
Which made 45-44 end of the game.
And the Alex with intentional grounding, that
was pretty bad. And then and the 4th down, who was the wide receiver? Dwayne Bowe.
Catching it out of bounds.
Yes. He should have had more awareness of where he was. Had 2 feet inbounds, but didn't and caught the ball out of bounds, which made Indianapolis win this game. And Kansas City had 150 rush yards in this game, and Indianapolis 100, which is about pretty even game in rushing yards. But
total yards, actually, too.
I think Indianapolis dominated this game in the second half and didn't allow Kansas City to score any touchdowns, just pretty much field goals. Throughout the second half.
Now let's move on to the next game that was on Saturday later that day, which was the New Orleans and Philly game. New Orleans
won 26-24
on a last-minute field goal by Shane Graham. What's his name? They just signed him, so like a couple weeks before, I think, and they lost Derek Harvey was not very good. Say the least.
Okay, so in this game, Drew Brees had a pretty good game. 250 yards, which is pretty. It was better than Nick Foles' 195 yards. But
not better in touchdowns, one pick.
Yeah, he only had one touchdown and 2 interceptions, while Nick Foles had 2 TDs and 0 interceptions. But so this was a pretty average game for both quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I could say they could have done better, but
Bradley Cooper had a pretty good game. He's
one
been on like a
touchdown.
tear lately. 68 yards, one touchdown.
Yeah.
He's like Foles' like big target, and Deshaun Jackson.
And the only turnovers for New Orleans were Drew Brees' picks, and they lost the turnover battle 2-0.
But New Orleans had so many rush yards with it. LeSean McCoy got stopped only like 80 yards.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then
about 80 yards.
And Mark Ingram had 97 yards, one touchdown, and the whole team got 185 yards, which is
pretty good. And
high.
Nick Foles and LeSean McCoy made this 80 yards, but nobody else seemed to ran in that game. It kind of seemed like Nick Foles got to pass it more than rush. But I think that New Orleans kind of brought themselves back and defeated the Philadelphia Eagles in this game. And losing 23-24 at the last seconds, Graham kicks the winner. They move on to the divisional round. Now, let's move on to the San Diego-Cincinnati game. And in this game, I picked San Diego. We both picked San Diego in this game. And it did appear that San Diego did win. And
it was the only game that wasn't a one-possession game at the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly. With Kansas City losing to Indianapolis by 1 point.
The biggest.
Philadelphia to New Orleans by 2 points. And Green Bay to San Francisco by 3 points. And, did we mention that I'll let you mention this one. The Indianapolis comeback was
28 points. But
second greatest in playoff history. And that's pretty big amount. That's a 4 touchdown game.
Okay.
And
now let's get back to the subject. San Diego beating Cincinnati 17 in the jungle, and first loss by Andy Dalton in the jungle for that season. And San Diego outscored Cincinnati 20-0 in the second half,
and San Diego was the only team that actually won the turnover battle and won the game. But as you look, Cincinnati isn't really good when it comes to losing the turnover battle. But let's come back to this game.
The thing that really got me was the momentum when Giovanni Bernard fumbled.
Yeah, at the 2-yard line, was it? It was close. It was in the close. It was close to the end zone. Yeah, and he fumbles. San Diego gets the ball, and this is in the second half. And San Diego just blasted off that point.
It was in the first half.
No, second half.
First half. First half.
Second half.
Remember? It was 10-7.
Yeah, in the second half.
And then Cincinnati fumbled in the first half.
Whatever.
First half.
It was the second half. Second half.
First half. Okay.
Okay. So, but Ronnie Brown had a pretty good game with 77 yards, 1 touchdown.
He didn't really get going until that long run. I think it was 64 yards.
Yeah. Pretty long run for a touchdown, 64 yards.
Philip Rivers clean. I knew if they played.
If he didn't throw any interceptions, he would win the game.
And Dalton do 2 picks. One was almost a pick 6, and another one was Andy Dalton slid awkwardly, not really like a baseball slide, like quarterback
Head
said,
first and
tried to
lost
get
the
first
football
down.
and
Wasn't touched.
created a fumble, and San
Chargers
Diego got
recovered.
this ball and basically took them to win. And
Marvin Jones had a big game, 130 yards. Actually, Andy Dalton threw it a lot more than I expected, like 334 yards.
Well, it's kind of crazy because Philip Rivers only got 128 yards.
But the rush was
196 was a pretty big game for San Diego in the rushing offense. But look at Andy Dalton, who got 334 pass yards. That's pretty good game by Ed.
It's funny how they got more yards, but the thing was that they threw picks, which made small field for us.
Mm-hmm.
And
for San Diego.
Well, yeah.
But technically us, because we live in San Diego.
Yeah. And also they drove down the field, had some good drives, and then Andy Dalton would throw a pick or something, like this pick that's down on Butler. That was a great play.
So let's move on to the San Francisco Green Bay game. And
San Francisco, Phil Dawson hitting a last-minute field goal. Seemed like all of them had like
last-minute field goal, except for the San Diego game and Indianapolis. But Indianapolis was in the last minutes of the game, and so let's look at this game. And Colin Kaepernick, like you said, this was my only loss of my predictions, which I thought Green Bay would come in, which was a pretty close game on this, and Green Bay couldn't really control
Colin Kaepernick.
Their rushing.
His man coverage. I thought Colin Kaepernick would do it too, because man coverage is harder, where you're covering your man and you're focused on him, and then you don't realize that the quarterback's running, and he just ran them over with a 98 rush yards.
He got one touchdown and one interception.
The only turnover in the game.
Yes, and threw for 227 yards, which is more than Aaron Rodgers' 170.
But
117
more than half of it was to Michael Crabtree, who had just come back. He played in the regular season finale, but he didn't play like his hardest because he didn't.
Aaron Rodgers threw no picks, one touchdown.
177 yards. Eddie Lacy had 81 yards. John Kuhn scored a touchdown.
Michael Crabtree caught the ball for 125 yards. Wow, pretty good game for him. And that should be it for the wild card round. Now let's move on to
the divisional round.
Yes, and
it's Chargers versus Broncos, 1 versus 6.
Wow. And there's two 1v6.
You have the Chargers moving on, and
I have the Chargers moving on in this game, and I think
the only team to stop the Broncos
for under 200 yards in each game.
Yards.
In each game they play them.
Yeah, 400 yards.
But for both games combined, because they are in the same division, they have will stop them to less than 400 yards for both games, and I think this will happen again. And
but the difference was in the first game in San Diego, they let too many big plays, like that one to Julius Thomas tiptoeing down the sideline, pushing him out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if San Diego can keep the ball and, like always, keep their time of possession up huge, they can be able to make. Well,
everybody's like time of possession. Both games they got 38 minutes of time possession. So.
But still, well, let's look at this this way. Peyton Manning
does not look the cold, but
he's not good.
Playoffs, cold weather.
Like in the last game versus the Ravens, threw a pick.
That sealed the game.
Basically gave the game to the Ravens in double OT.
think it was double.
Yeah, it was double
It
OT.
was an OT.
It was overtime, and it was double OT.
Yeah. And he threw what quarterbacks should never do, throw it across their line.
But ended up throwing a pick, and I don't think he's Mr. Ice when it comes to playoffs, and isn't good against the San Diego Chargers and Philip Rivers
4
in
and
the
5
playoffs.
against him and his
And
like
yes, and 0-2
still in the playoffs.
Against them.
Okay, so now let's go to the other AFC game, which is the number 2 seed Patriots versus the number 4 seed Indianapolis Colts, which Indianapolis Colts, as we just told you, did a close one, but
and I think Patriots are going to win this game.
me too.
I think, well, let's just put it this way. I think their luck will run out. And I think that Bill Belichick will he doesn't really have an output in this game, but he'll get this Patriots team to
pumped up.
Yeah, to end up winning this game after.
And remember, they do have corners to play with T.Y.
Yeah.
And Achille.
And I think a key to Patriots winning is making sure you do put double coverage on T.Y. Hilton.
I don't think they need T.Y. Hilton to get double coverage this time because my favorite. This is gonna be the best matchup. Achille probably versus T.Y. Hilton, which is one of the better cornerbacks in the league and one of the better upcoming wide receivers in the league. So.
Yeah. So that should be a really good game.
Oh.
So yeah, these two AFC games should be really good games. Now let's go to the New Orleans versus Seattle game.
In their only regular season matchup, they got blown out of Seattle like my balloon.
Also, a number 6 seed versus a number 1 seed, and it should be a pretty good game. And I got my pick on Seattle this time, and
I got my pick on Seattle too. I think the same.
I don't think that New Orleans will be able to redeem themselves, even though
blown out of the nest.
I think they will still have a good game, but they won't be able to compete.
Seahawks
they will be able to compete, but they won't be able to stand against Russell Wilson and what he does all the time.
Seahawks won't lose in the nest. They call it.
So now let's look at the San Francisco at Panthers game.
Now they met in regular season, close game, 10-9. 49ers didn't have Michael Crabtree. Early in the game, Vernon Davis got hurt. It was a mess for Colin Kaepernick. He got sacked like 6 times, I think. He got sacked a lot. They put like almost, since they played zone, they like contained the quarterback, and Colin Kaepernick didn't know what to do.
Well, Carolina has a great defense.
Yeah.
And I think they actually might be able to make it all the way to the Super Bowl. And what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, if Cam Newton plays as good as he does, usually, running around, I mean, I don't expect a lot of yards because 49ers defense, and they play zone too, but he might, when they play man, he'll take control of that. And every defense has, they play zone and man, but some of them like zone better, man better.
And one uses more than the other.
Yep.
And so we both. Well, I have Carolina on this game.
I do too.
And surprisingly, we have all the same picks this time. But as you can see, the games seem pretty easy to pick unless you are a great fan of the other team.
No, not necessarily. They're great games. They're toss-up games. The toss-up game I like is the San Diego Broncos.
San Diego
That's a big toss-up. Another toss-up is 49ers, Panthers, but other than that, Patriots are too, but the one that's like not a good game probably is the Saints versus the Seahawks. So.
Well, we'll see because Saints, I think they might redeem themselves more than they did in the regular season game.
The Seahawks got Jimmy and covered him.
No, they totally.
They have cornerbacks, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas. Those guys can cover. Okay, that's for all.
I think that's it.
Okay.
For right now.
Okay.
We'll tune back to you again for another. Yeah, for another segment.
And the Super Bowl one. And
oh yeah.
We're gonna do it on other sports stats too.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna be able to express our knowledge about everything, sports other than football, and be able to go into college football and baseball and soccer and basketball.
Yeah.
And
okay, check
we'll
back
tune
next
back
week.
To you guys.
Have a good night.
Hey guys,
remember to subscribe.
If you liked our videos, please subscribe and
comment.
We'd really appreciate it. And
comment on stuff.
Or ask us any questions. We'll be happy to answer them.
If you want, you can tell us to
do a video on anything you guys would like us to. And
all sports, cricket. Even
he likes cricket. That's actually, he does.
Me and the ballooning thing.
Yeah, stupid ballooning. So we'll be back with another video next weekend. And please subscribe. We love our subscribers. And if you got any questions, just ask us. We'll be happy to answer them.
Me and Balloonie say, have a good night.
See ya.